Greetings, Princess Sarissa, and we're starting off today's episode right in the middle of things. There were these land turtles. They were the last enemy you had to encounter around the moor area, and I've had trouble finding them. It's taking me forever to find them, so I figured I'd do it off screen and start the episode finding them. So, although it's really interesting what kind of ends up happening, but I'll point that out when it happens. I know, a little teaser. But anyway, like most turtles, these ones are weak to ice, or should I say, like most reptiles, these ones are weak to ice, and they drop turtle shells when defeated. That's another mixing item for chemists. Don't have any use for them though, so in this playthrough, they're just going to be things to sell. So, ooh, we tempted that turtle, and he critical attacked himself. Woohoo! So. This is right outside, like I said, the village moor, so, yay, and we defeat them, and we get the turtle shells. And, okay, so this is the interesting thing. So it took me forever to find them, and then, lo and behold, I find them right away after I just defeated them, so I figured I'd just keep it in here, because there was, I thought it was kind of funny. You know, I probably spent about, 35 minutes just on fighting enemies. Couldn't find them, and then I start playing and I get 2 in a row, so yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it's okay that I was fighting all those enemies. I didn't fight them, I mainly just got into a battle, ran away, and that's okay because eventually I'm going to want to power up this weapon called the chicken knife, and it's basically the strongest knife in the game. It starts out really weak, but every time you run away, its power will increase. So, well, basically every 2 times you run away, because it maxes out at 255 times running away, and then it divides it by 2. So, for a max power of 127. So, this is the Forest of Moor. Now that we have that tree branch that Sage Guido gave us earlier, we can actually get into the forest. So there's this like little pathway here that's blocked out, but with the branch it opens up. So we got 5 new enemies to encounter in this area. We'll obviously be encountering them all. It's kind of an annoying area because you have a field of vision here where you can't see most of the things. You can only see that little circle around you. So we ran into 3 of the 5 new enemies right away. So the mammons are the trees that are down there on the lower right. So the gala jellies are those green little slime-looking things, and then obviously the mini mage is the remaining thing, the little tiny guy in the kind of like the black mage cloak. So. And I tried to use the Demon Eye there. That's that Catalabus's summon. It instantly petrifies an enemy. Like most instant death or instant defeat spells, it kind of has a low accuracy, but on enemies that it does work against, it's pretty good. So the boss of this area is actually susceptible to. It's one of the few bosses that is susceptible to instant death attacks. So. We'll have to try it against them, maybe. So, yeah, this is one of the tougher bosses in the game, though, coming up. So, it's kind of a trick to fighting them. So, all right, get some levels, get some treasure up here. It's pretty easy to miss treasure here because, like I said, you can't see except for the small area around you. So. And here's the gala jellies. We saw them earlier, but I didn't put their stats up, so we gotta wait for a different battle here. Here we go. So there's 3 different areas in the forest. So these are all the enemies you can meet in this area. In the next area, we can meet the 4th of the 5 enemies, and then the final area is where we meet the last or the 5th enemy. So we should be able to pretty much off-screen most of the battles in this area. Now, you see that tree there? It has a little hole. That's where they're talking about the wood sprites that live in the holes. So if you talk with the hole, the wood sprite will come out and it'll open up this new tunnel, and that takes you to the next area. So we just pass through this little tunnel, I guess, underneath the trees, and here we're in area 2. So, get some treasure up here. A lot of money, so that's good. So, one thing I did do while off screen, you haven't really noticed it yet, but I went back to the Werewolf Village Quell and maxed out my lightning, water, and fire scrolls for the ninja to throw. So, oh, and I got minied there. So, and we used the mallet to restore things. I also bought a few shurikens. So, I sold a few of my about 49. So I was gonna say 50%, half of the restorative items. So I just, instead of carrying 99 around, I'm carrying 50 of each. So. And here's our 4th new enemy, the little imp enemy here. So, it's weird we have an imp. They resist holy, so usually imps are, you know, in most fantasy things, imps are a minor type of demon, so you figure they would take more damage from holy, but they're subverting our expectations. Ryan Johnson will be happy. He's the guy who made that terrible Star Wars movie. The Last Jedi, because he said, I want to subvert your expectations, so I'm gonna, like, do a whole bunch of things that are stupid. So, he made the movie so dumb. My dad, who was a big Star Wars fan, he didn't even want to see the last movie. Was it The Rise of Skywalker? Good job, Ryan Johnson. So, but, I mean, if you like the movie, say, you know, we all have our own little opinions, so. I just know my dad didn't like him, so. I'm too young to know any of the other Star Wars movies. I'm only like 2 and a half. But even though I'm young, I'm pretty good at video games. So here's our little tree sprite again. It'll take us to the 3rd and final area. Although this is kind of like a 2-parter area, so. First part here is going to be a nice little, you know, like the other parts, nice little vibrant tree area, you know. But then something's gonna happen. I'm not gonna spoil it. Ooh, another Goliath tonic. That's a chemist item. It basically doubles your hit points for that battle. Because it's a chemist item, we're not gonna have any use for it, so. Got a nice little save point here. So it's pretty far away from the boss, though, but thankfully there's a way to save before we fight the boss, so. Elixirs are always good because there's only one place where you can buy elixirs, and elixirs are really, really, really expensive, so. And here is our final enemy in the area, the worm. So, not to be confused with the worm that birds eat. This is a worm like a dragon. The best high flyer in the Ogre Battle series. Because it can carry the most units. Ooh, and we take it out real quickly with a sword dance. Ba-dunk. But that's it for new enemies in this area, so let's just continue onward upward. I'm checking out my map here to make sure I get all the treasures. So, ooh. We get a Morning Star. It's similar to that flail that we got back in the ship graveyard, where it does kind of random type damage. So when we get to this point near the end of the forest, we get this little cutscene happening. And this cutscene is gonna do 2 things actually. The first one is gonna be very obvious. Now look at the map there. There's the forest is surrounded by mountains. That's why we couldn't get in here. But the first thing this thing is gonna do is obviously it's gonna burn down the forest, well, most of the forest, and the second thing it's going to do, it's not going to affect us now here, is it's going to tear down a piece of the mountain. Now there's a treasure chest there. If we get the treasure chest now, we get an Aegis shield, which is a good shield. it basically gives you, I think, a 1/3 chance to block a magical attack. And it gives you pretty good magical defense. So we just wander around here and kind of stuck in this area. And then a Moogle appears and beckons us down this hole. You notice I didn't pick up that treasure. That's because if you wait to pick it up until after this forest fire happens, it'll transform from an Aegis shield into a flame shield. And I want the flame shield for this upcoming boss. So, and then we sit down here and we get a little recovery spring that we can use to obviously heal ourselves up. Moogle's still talking, just saying Kupo. But now we just have to sit here for a little bit, and eventually this Moogle here is going to move. And once the Moogle moves, then we can head back out the hole, and we'll be able to finish up this area. Let's just sit down here. Hurry up and wait like the army. My daddy was in the army, and that was a saying they used to say. They'd make you hurry up to get somewhere, and then you just wait there. So now the Moogle is moving around. That means it's time for us to leave. And it also means it's time for us to look at Mr. Hurley. He's getting ready to go to the vet, so he's a little scared, because vets can be scary. But Mr. Hurley was one of the rabbits that was saved by Rabbit and Small Animals Rescue, and they used a lot of money to help give him the surgery he needs to save his life, but he appreciates it. We'll learn more about him in a little bit, but we want to get that fire shield, because now that fire shield will basically make Galuf absorb fire attack. So if he gets hit by a fire spell, it'll give him hit points. And one of the bosses coming up uses fire, so now the forest is all burnt down, so it made that shield change from an Aegis to a flame shield. And we get some ash here in this treasure chest here. Yep. Which is just like a throwaway item. You can have your ninja throw it. And we couldn't reach this treasure chest earlier, but I wonder what it would have been. But it's a flame tongue. It's a now it's a fire sword. So I wonder if there's some way to, maybe if there was a way to cheat and pass through the area that triggered that cutscene, like maybe you can do a walk through walls. If there's a different sword in there that changes from like maybe a great sword into a fire sword, you know, let you choose, but kind of like that shield. But luckily we can leave the forest, save our game here, and head back into the forest, because like I said, the boss coming up here is pretty tough. Well, it's tough for this class, the series that I got. So the last thing, the chemist has an instant death potion it can mix. And like I said, this boss coming up is one of the few that is susceptible to instant death, so that class makes this job easy. And if you run a class like with the Archer or the Berserker class, both of them have weapons that can instantly kill an enemy, and so that makes it the bosses really easy, because you can just instant death them with the death sickle or the killer bow. But we don't have that here, so we're in for a little bit of a tougher time. We're gonna have to use some different strategy to fight these enemies. So the enemies here are called the Seals. So, and like Galuf says, they're named after whatever, I guess they get their name from. They're the things that are sealed in here. Now, like the crystals, each of these seals is an elemental, is a thing with elemental. It represents a different element. So I'm going to put the stats up based on how they, how I take them out. So now, every single one of them is 7,777 hit points. Now, at first, they basically just use a physical attack. So Golem will take them out. Will pretty much neutralize them. So, however, when we get them down to about 3,000 hit points, basically what happens is they go into their phase 2. And at that point, they're all going to start using multi-targeting attacks based on their elements. So it's important that we kind of keep track of their hit points, which is easier said than done because RASAR keeps countering. Why couldn't they counter like that during the Ogio Avis fight in the Ronco rooms? So I could have showed off that trick. But anyway, when we get the water one down to, you know, like 3,000 hit points, what he will end up doing is he'll start using the Aqua Breath, multi-targeting water spell that hits everybody for lots of damage. And we have no way to absorb water. So when we get down really close, that's when I'm going to start throwing shurikens with Faris and RASAR in the hope that we can take them out before they use that multi-targeting attack. The Earth one here is the one on the bottom. And when we dead him down to about 3,000 hit points, he'll start using a Quake attack, which isn't that much of a problem if you have a Time Mage, because the Time Mage can remember cast that float spell that we picked up back in Ball Castle, and that would neutralize the Quake. However, we don't have that, so we're just gonna have to once again take it out like we did with the water crystal, and wait until it gets to its second phase, and then try to quick blitzkrieg and take it out real quick. So now I'm taking these things out one at a time because I don't want to use multiple targeting spells, potentially bring more than one down to, you know, its phase 2 critical point. So Faris has the wind knife. That's why she keeps hitting that whenever she hits the one in the back. It's healing hit points because the wind is going to heal it. So break a flame rod here, deal some damage to the one on the bottom there, and that should get it ready to be in the critical hit points. Throw some shurikens at it. Galuf's jump, take it out. Woohoo! Now the one on top is the fire, and when it gets down to critical hit points like it does right here, it can start casting Fire 3 on everybody. That's why I wanted the Fire Shield, because the Fire Shield, we already have, the Fire Shield will give Galuf hit points back if it hits him, and RASAR has the Reflect Ring, so we have 50%, 2 of our 4 characters protected against what the Fire Crystal can do. Since it casts Fire 3 is actually a reflectable spell, so that's why the Wall Ring works. The other spells are multi-targeting, like the Earthquake can't be reflected, and neither can that Aqua Breath, so the Wall Ring doesn't help. So preferably I would have been able to take the Fire Crystal out last, but it's okay. And then our final crystal here is the Wind Crystal, and when it gets brought down to low hit points, it'll use either Arrow 3, or it'll start using that like Breathwing type attack. So once again, we're going to continue to use the same issues here. Just keep bringing it down, wait until we get down to when it gets close to its critical point, and then start throwing the shurikens. So that's just doing some pretty good damage now, about 1,000 a hit. Okay, so now we know it's in critical. It's using the Arrow 3. Now it means we're going to start throwing shurikens, and boom, we take it out, and we got our victory. Yay! And each of them has a 1 in 4 chance to drop Ash. So we got another Ash there, useless item, but apparently, somebody's here. Who is it? Well, I'll tell you. It's Exdeath! Here he comes. And he's going to tell us what these seals actually sealed. And if you haven't guessed that already, they seal the crystals of this world. So yeah, just like how RASAR's world had a set of 4 elemental crystals, this world also has 4 elemental crystals. However, we won't be getting any jobs out of these crystals because Exdeath is going to steal them off of us. Oh no! He used us. He used us to break the seal so that he can steal the crystals. I wonder what jobs he's going to get off of them. Uh-oh. 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 It's Krill. We already realized that she has, like, psychic powers. Remember, she's able to talk with the Moogles. And she was also able to psychically talk with Sage Guido. So she has this stirring feeling that something wrong is going to happen. So she summons the Windrake. And you might be thinking, well, the Windrake, how is she going to get to us on the Windrake? Remember, the place is surrounded by mountains. But remember, the other thing that fire did when it burned down the forest, I guess it must have caused a landslide in the mountains. Because now there's going to be an opening in the bottom of the mountain, the southern part of the mountains, that allows Krill to fly her Windrake in. So, much like she did with King Tycoon, she used her lightning spell to knock out Exdeath. And she saves us. Woohoo! And she's going to come help us out, but uh-oh. Unlike King Tycoon, the little spell that she used on Exdeath, yeah, it didn't do as much to him, so... Remember, magicians tend to have really good magic defense, Krill, so... He's a warlock. He's gonna have good magic resistance. Yeah, that bolt ain't gonna do much to him, so... And he puts her in this, little, red bubble of doom, starts tossing her around, so... She's gonna cry out to Grandpa, and Galuf is gonna use the power of love here to save his granddaughter. So he's gonna pull a last dragon. So he's gonna pull a show nuff from the last dragon. That was a kind of a martial arts type film. That mixed hip hop and black culture with Asian martial art type culture. So back in the 80s, we had like Bruce Leroy and Shogun, the Shogun, Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem. And at one point, he used this thing called the glow, the technique, and he kind of glowed red, but it wasn't the full thing. Bruce Leroy got the final glow. But I'm just speeding up the battle here. I said he got the glow because he absorbed the power that red ball became all glowing red, and we just get into this like battle here where it doesn't matter what Exdeath does, Galuf is not going to die. We just have to defeat Exdeath here, and we're just gonna jump and defeat him like this. And that's why I'm just speeding up the battle here, because it takes a while. It takes about 5 minutes to do. But basically, Exdeath's like, how are you surviving? Is it your hatred of me? And that's when Galuf's like, no, it's not hatred. It's something more powerful than hate. It's basically my love for my daughter and my friends. So the power of love, not the power of the glow, allowed Galuf to defeat Exdeath. But it's just a temporary victory because Exdeath recovers, grabs the remaining 3 crystals during that cutscene. If you notice, Galuf destroyed one of the crystals, and Exdeath flees. And this scene, a little bit of a spoiler, it's somewhat reminiscent of Final Fantasy IV, Tella's scene, where Tella is spurned to action against the big bad, in that case Golbez, based on something that Golbez did to a female family member of his. So in Final Fantasy IV, Golbez killed Tella's daughter Anna. So Golbez gets mad, and he attacks Golbez at one point. And even though he defeats Golbez, it costs him his life. And that's very similar to what happens right here, where Galuf sees something bad happening to his granddaughter, Krill, and it motivates him to attack the big bad, defeat the big bad, even though it ends up costing him his life. So, I don't like that translation there. Galuf's flame has flickered out. It kind of, I mean, you know, he died, and they kind of made it a little silly. I know this game is kind of silly, but it puts a little, it just doesn't fit the scene. So, actually, this is, I guess, one of the more, you know, poignant Final Fantasy death scenes. I mean, there was quite a few of them in Final Fantasy 2, but, you know, most of them were from temporary party members. You know, people were only in our party for, you know, a little bit, so we didn't really get to learn them, but we've been with Galuf since the beginning of the game, and so yeah, we got to learn about his past, and, you know, his family, some of the struggles that he had. You know, he lost his children when they went to the desert to try to save a windrake. Now he's acting as a caregiver for his granddaughter. But, so, but here we get a little scene. Even though we've lost Galuf, we will get a replacement, and Krill, his granddaughter, will actually take his place in our party. So now, during this cutscene right here, is Galuf is communicating through the power of the Elder Tree, and that's the main tree right there. And, or the Guardian Tree in this translation. It's lending him his power to allow him to talk to Krill, and he basically gives Krill, like, you know, a motivational speech, and he says, you know, like, hey, you know, don't mourn me, you know, I did what I had to do to protect the world, and now it's your turn to take up the fight. Very similar to what Kelger and Zizat were basically saying, that, you know, hey, the crystals have chosen new people. We defended the world 30 years ago, now gotta fall to the younger generation. So now Galuf says, you know, hey, it's time for you, as part of the younger generation, to take up my fight. Just as, you know, RASAR's taking up his father's fight, and, you know, Lenna and Faris are taking up the fight of, you know, Kelger and Zizat. So, and he basically tells her, you know, that, hey, you know, I'll always be with you in my heart, and, you know, you can do this, so help RASAR and my friends. And Krill here is going to inherit all of Galuf's abilities, so all those jobs that we mastered with Galuf or abilities, because Galuf hasn't mastered any jobs yet, but all those abilities that Galuf learned will now transfer over to Krill. So she basically functions as, you know, a pure replacement for Galuf. Her stats are a little bit different, though. Where Galuf was kind of more, I guess, well-rounded, Krill is less physical and more magical. So she's more of a Lenna archetype. So basically our two well-rounded characters are RASAR and Faris, and our two magically oriented characters are now Krill and Lenna. But yeah, see, now we have the Hiryu here, and if we go south, we can see where the cave-in was. That allows us to escape the Forest of Moor. We can change, we'll have to put Krill in her job. So, you know, she gets to see all these new little sprites. Yep, we're gonna make her a Dragoon. I like the little, the Berserker sprite. She's in like a little cat suit. So, yeah, Berserker is kind of like a, see, feral warrior. So, all the Berserkers are, they kind of have like an animal theme. So, like, they're like wolves, and Krill's a cat. So, here's a new ability. We haven't used it at all, Lance. Basically gives a drain attack to your physical attack, so now we were told that Exdeath retreated to his castle, so we can head to Exdeath's castle, but we have one more alternate area to go to. We could have went to this area as soon as we escaped Ball Castle, before we went to Quelb, but tough enemy in it, and didn't want to wait. Wanted to wait until we got the Golem summon in some levels. So, but to the west of the big bridge and to the east of the castle, we have this little tunnel here, and that's what we'll pick up in our next episode. So, take care. Have a good day. Bye. And let's finish off with learning more about Hurley here. So, yep. Even though Hurley got the soldier that he needed, he still needs other medical issues taken care of, and that's what Rabbit and Small Animal Rescue does. But of course, they're only able to provide the medical treatment that he needs thanks to support and donations from people like you. So, if you would like to make a donation to help Rabbit and Small Animal Rescue do their job, I have a description and link in the video description. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.